I'm kind of curious, why do you think Buffett, because he was an activist,
yes,
right, in his early days. I guess you could even call him a corporate raider. Now, he didn't take Greenmail, but, change the capital structure.
And he was a corporate raider.
Yeah.
They're both true. Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, why do you think he stopped doing that?
I think because of a few things. One, I think because of the reputation things. He didn't like the criticism and the confrontation and things like that.
Yeah, because people in Dempster Mills, that town, hated him.
Yeah.
And I think that psychologically kind of messed with him. The whole town hating him.
Two, I think it became easier to borrow to do these things. So once there were junk bonds and stuff, then Buffett wasn't going to be involved because I think it made it too easy. He made money by coattailing on other investors and by owning something which then got part of a takeover sort of thing. Like he owned General Foods and some other ones like that. So I did a couple of different, actually 2 different food ones, I think. And then I also think that size was the other issue. So I think it's very hard to be an activist in large companies. People do it now, but it's this kind of activism that exists now didn't exist before, which is just to create a lot of publicity while having a meaningless stake.
It's like they're running a presidential campaign.
Yeah.
Like it's like...
So you could buy up a few, not now, but years ago, I mean, now it's too big, but years ago you could buy a little bit of Microsoft or something, but you'd never be able to buy a lot of Microsoft. So, what could you do? I mean, Berkshire is big enough that if they wanted to, they could. I mean, he could have bought enough Apple to be, a very, very major shareholder in Apple. And then with his reputation, everything could have, gotten things he wanted done. I think the biggest thing is it's easier to bet on the status quo being the way you want it than to get involved in activism stuff. And Buffett has had some things where he's been active in a company. He basically replaced the CEO of Coke. So, I mean, he told the CEO, you're out, privately.
Salomon Brothers.
Yeah. He got involved as chairman there. He didn't vote one way or the other on a compensation plan.
My favorite part about Salomon Brothers and the Snowball was him and Charlie were checking out the company, and Charlie's like, this is the company you want to invest in, Warren? And they said he just kind of was like, like he did say, his way of saying like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah. So I don't think they like getting involved with that, but he got a special deal by doing that. But I think also learning from that is the special deals that worked out and the ones that didn't, for the most part, he could have just bought the common stock. Like if he was right about the business and everything, he would have known better. I think he could have bought a lot more Gillette, for instance, and done better than doing all the different special deals he did. So people complain about like, part of his record's built on these special deals and everything. The same thing even now with he did GE and Goldman Sachs and things like that. But if you had just done Bank of America,
just easier.
And you could have just bought it as a stock anyway. So, I mean, you get some benefits from that with the things about warrants and stuff. But if you're right about the business, it's hard to protect yourself with these other forms of security and stuff. Yeah.
In the Joel Greenblatt class notes, he talked about how Gotham did one activist situation and it was their last. I think he said that they ran a proxy contest and won. I think they made money, but he just said afterwards, like just the fighting and the headache, it wasn't even worth it. Yeah.
So it can be very expensive. We mentioned Luby's before, right?
Yeah.
I think they said they spent $1.7 million on their proxy one. Something like that. Total, their costs associated with that were pretty high, which is not insignificant, considering that it wasn't like, if you look it up and stuff, I don't know where that money went.
Yeah.
That's the thing about these. It's not like they bought $2 million worth of ads to air and things. I mean, that's usually what you see when you look at these proxy things and how much goes to lawyers and stuff. But that's also the thing with lawyers. I'm always impressed by that. When a company gets involved in litigation, we were talking about a company that, wasted a huge amount of their market cap over 10 years on litigation that didn't go anywhere. They won some of the cases, they lost some of the cases. On average, the lawyers got paid and they didn't really make much of anything. And it probably had negative value over time for that. So that's the harmful part of it. I think the activism makes sense when you're replacing someone. That's the only real case that I can think of it. So,
like members of the board, or are you talking like executives?
Yeah. Yeah, members of the board slash executives, replacing who controls the company. So a takeover of the company, I think, makes sense. I think that's the real way to achieve activism. Like the modern kind of thing, I don't believe anything's actually getting done. I think what they're doing is drawing a lot of attention to a stock, so maybe that's creating something more publicity for it and stuff. But I got them to pay out a dividend, change their dividend policy, or buy back stock, or do this or whatever. The way you achieve change is by replacing who's in there, and then the entire philosophy of it changes. So, like we mentioned, the Bankingham HIFS, the ticker, that one they replaced the management, and then they ran it for 30 years.
Yeah.
And so you get a totally different result from that.
Sure.
Buffett, you'll remember, raided Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
I mean, Sanborn Mapp, Dempster Mill, Berkshire Hathaway. Sanborn Mapp, he got them all to agree to it finally.
Yeah.
But he was the only major shareholder on the board and stuff. So, but Dempster Mill, he basically bought it all and then sold the company.